you've worked a lot with American counterparts, your American counterparts?
Not a lot.
Okay.
Not a lot. I've come across them on and off, right through from Green Army to Special Forces. The Green Army, very interesting. The Special Forces, very interesting. That was entirely a resource factor. The difference between the American anything is resource, and the difference is that we don't have the resource, and therefore we have to select a man, capable man, who can slot into roles when trained, when given the right guidance, instruction, training and so on, then we can slot into a role. Whereas the US in particular have unit specific. They almost have a unit entirely specialised in kicking doors. And that's fine, and it works very well, and it's very effective because they are total super specialists. The problem that they would have, and I'm not saying they do have, but the problem that they would have is when they're taken out of role, what background training do they have? Well, you take the British non-specialist, if you like, even specialist units, special forces, they will specialise in different things for periods, but generally speaking, they are generalists.
What the gas, mate? Right shut. Close it right down, mate. Fast air coming in.
They're capable individuals who can, with the right training, do different roles.
You were in the jungle with some American brethren from Special Forces.
Yeah, that's right.
Is that an anecdote you can share?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, it was quite funny. We were dropped off and we did a short tab, and we had an American lad in, great fella, and we got to a point where we stopped, and he sat down and he said, "That'll do then." And we said, "We're going." He said, "What about the transport?" We said, "Well, you're wearing the transport." But having said that, they were good guys, strong.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Any other nationality that you came across?
Could talk about that. Yeah, the Americans never far from resource, never far from a resupply. 10 minutes away from a heli exfil or CASEVAC. But then you look at the Australians, and I was so impressed with the Australian SF. They've got an island, the biggest island on the planet. I might be wrong, but it's one of the biggest islands on the planet, and they can be far out of range of any helicopter resup, any helicopter CASEVAC. They have to be so self-reliant, so self-sufficient. Their patrol medics can be dealing with a massive trauma on a basic exercise where the nearest exfil is 24 hours away. So they've got to keep a lad stabilised, living, and just their professionalism was absolutely phenomenal. And we would go on really extended trips, 1,000 miles into the bush. And how do you get out of that? You are literally
in Australia. Oh wow, you actually went to Australia.
Working with the Aussies, things like that. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic! How long did you work with them? How long?
I did a couple of trips to Australia. I did a month there, where we were working on the coast on the boats. We did a little desert work, and I did another trip where I was very fortunate to get on what was a little bit of a glad handing trip. Really, they were showing us how their special forces work. And the way it worked, it was an excellent setup. They gave us an aircrew and they gave us an aeroplane, and they flew us all over Australia. And we would touch down with one of the units that was in the north. We would then work with them. Then, when I say work with them, they would show us their stuff. We would shake their hands. They would put on a barbecue. Everybody would get drunk, and we'd have a good time. Then we'd fly out from the north down to the south to Perth or across to Sydney or something like this. And we'd be flying for 8-9 hours a day, touching down, having a barbecue, maybe the next couple of days doing a little bit of soldiering or watching their stuff, and then flying somewhere else. And in the time we were out there, I think it was 5 weeks or something we were out there, we effectively flew about 3 times around the world. And what was really quite funny, and they were very hospitable. They looked after us and they showed us things that were really eye-watering. We went up in the north and we were watching the whales from the aircraft, and that we were sitting on the tailgates, flying over, and there's these whales and humpback whales and stuff. Flew around the Ayers Rock in the centre of near Alice Springs, went to Alice Springs, and barbecues, and the indigenous people put shows on for us. Absolutely
fantastic.
Yeah, good trip.
I've always wondered, do you then bring your own weapon systems for training over there, or do you work with whatever they've got? You work with what they've got?
When I've gone overseas, invariably, it depends. It depends.
If it's a deployment,
case,
obviously,
in that case, we use the Australian Steyr.
Oh, really? The Steyr?
When we went, it's European, isn't it? But the Australians were using it at the time. Never particularly liked it. Look, bloody awful looking weapon. And then when we were in Africa,
the magazine?
It was similar to an SA-80 setup. In so much you've got a rear mounted. But then it's completely, it looks like something off Star Wars or something. It's completely encased in polymer.
I think nowadays they probably use the AR-15 or M16 platform. I don't know. Maybe they still
use a Colt variant. I think most of the Western world does something like that. Classes the Western world, really.
And of course, the moment you went into SF, you would have mainly been working on that platform, I guess. The C7 or the M16.
The M16 was in when I was in.